All right. We are definitely moving along in this meeting. I didn't expect that as much as I was dragging getting up this morning. But Carol, if you would like to give a formal introduction to Darleen, and if Darleen's ready, we'd like to go ahead and have your presentation.
Yeah. Yes, I'm really pleased that Darleen's here. I've heard her speak in the community, and I want to share this bio that she shared with me. Darleen Spoor is the Executive Director of Arcata House Partnership. Since 1980, Dr. Spoor has been committed to and involved in providing service to people in need. She began her professional life as a case manager working with people who were dual diagnosed with learning disabilities and mental illness. Throughout her career, she has been in leadership roles for agencies that have served people with a variety of needs: mental health issues, learning disabilities, substance use concerns, special education needs, people who were economically disadvantaged or housing insecure, and people with physical challenges, people fleeing domestic violence, and the development of affordable housing. She began her career at Arcata House Partnership in January of 2016. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Darleen for our program today.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm always amazed. I think that the number 7 a.m. on my clock is really like fictitious and it's not a real thing. But then here we are. So I am so happy to be here. Thank you. I was trying to think about where to begin the discussion today or the presentation, because I obviously have all of these numbers and I'm so proud of our staff. And I could go on, and I have presented to you, I think, about what our staff did in 2020. In 2021, it just seems like more and more people are needing us. I want people to put me out of business. I want to retire again so that I can sit on my porch, but it seems like the numbers keep growing, and we can't do it alone. So I'm so happy to be able to share with you. In the first 6 months of this year already, we've provided over 9,000 shelter bed nights. I think the number that just blows me away is that we've provided nearly 46,000 meals and food bags. That means that more and more people are coming to us who are hungry than ever before. We have made through over 3,000 referrals to partner agencies, provided about $160,000 in rental support to people who just can't pay their rents right now. And I think so far this year, we've served a little over 339 people in the first 6 months who were different. And many of those people come to us daily or weekly to get services. Not everybody who comes to us is homeless. Many people are housing insecure. I think I said last year, and I'll say again this year, the one thing that disturbs me the most, absolute most, is when I get those calls from people who are seniors, who are late 60s, 70s, 80s, who are becoming homeless for the first time. We have a small shelter we just opened for senior women. We have 4 senior women in there who are all in their 70s or 80s. And from time to time, we'll open shelters specifically for seniors. We have one woman who's in there who's got late stage liver cancer. She's come to us to die with dignity because she can no longer live in her apartment. The rent was raised and she was about to become homeless. It makes no sense in my mind that people that age are becoming homeless. So we're there to help, and we're not the only ones. I mean, there are people that I see here who also spend much of their waking energy trying to support our collective community, and I really appreciate being part of that. A couple of things that were really exciting are that the governor has been putting an awful lot of money out to help people who are homeless. or to help people not become homeless. And a large part of my energy over the last year has been really to work statewide and nationally to get some rental support money in and mortgage support money, so that people who have lost their jobs over the last year did not become homeless, because we want to make sure that people get that kind of support. So at Arcata House Partnership, we've done an awful lot of work to, and that's kind of the background work, not something people see. People don't see the negative, right? You don't see when people don't become homeless, because we're working to keep them in their houses. We do that because of all of our support and because we believe in the community, right? It's so important to keep people housed. And we've gotten a lot of calls from people who don't know how to navigate the system. I think there, at least in our community of people that we serve, people know where they can get food or clothing or support. But over this last year, there's been an awful lot of people who have never had to get money from the food or food from the food pantry before, or never had to sign up for CalFresh, or never had to worry about getting a restraining order for domestic violence, because there's just been so much in the family that families have had a lot more conflict in them. And so a lot of our work this last year has been to work with people who have never had to use any of those systems before. We've spent a lot of time trying to help people stay stable, which has been so important to us. I think the one things we see on the streets, we've all seen more people being homeless on the streets than ever before. That's just the reality. We have too. And one of the things I hear is that it's really difficult and frustrating for people to have people peeing and pooping in their yard, to have people sleeping in their doorway, and they have to move people out every day. Let me just say, we are not immune either. We currently, our administrative office is a homeless service provider. We had a fire at our administrative office a few months ago. Someone who was homeless was sleeping under our awning and started a fire to stay warm, and caught our administrative office on fire. We hope to be back in the next few months, but you know, we aren't immune either. There's a lot of people out there who are just in need. And there was no malice there. Somebody was trying to stay warm and it got away from them. We have a lot of people sleeping in our doorways too. We've had to put security cameras on our buildings as well. So when people call and are really frustrated by all of that, I get it. And it feels more. And it feels more to all of you and to us, because it is more. There are more people on the streets for a lot of reasons. Shelters, all of us, Betty, the mission, are serving less people in our shelters than before COVID, because we can't open congregate shelters in the same way. Public health has asked us to change how we do that. And so we've all been at restricted limits, either 30 or 50%. The governor did fund a program called Project Room Key, and there were several hotels throughout our area that were opened, and we had people in there. One was in Arcata, one was in Eureka, and one in Garberville. Two of those are now closed because the funding has now ended, which means that I think we served 59 people. That's a guess, don't write that down. But I think we served 59 people in the one in Arcata alone. And now those people, although many of them we have been able to move to our shelter or move to other permanent housing, a lot of people who weren't able to move to our shelter or permanent housing are now back on the streets, but they had a place to be for a while. The one in Eureka is now closed. The one in Garberville serves 20 people, and we're keeping that one open for a few more months. But the reality is we are all seeing a lot more people on our streets. And I see Luke has joined us. You know firsthand, you know, you're the people we call when we need support too. So, you know, thank you to all of you. I don't want this to be a naysayer kind of morning, because it's much too early for that. And I want us to know that at least what Arcata House Partnership is doing is, you know, with feeding people, with clothing people, with providing people with opportunities to get vaccinations. We've done 3 vaccination clinics now for people who are homeless and have great success. I want to continue to encourage people to get vaccinated, but we're finding that there's a very low rate of people getting COVID in the homeless population because they are outside. And even though they are in their groups, they're outside and they're staying much safer because they're not in confined spaces. And so data shows that for people who are homeless, it's much safer for them to be outside if we can help them survive the elements than, to be in a shelter. So we've done a lot more work with people on the streets. We'll continue to do that. We've gotten some additional funding just recently to help do some street work so that people on the streets get to stay safe and get to stay warm and dry, hopefully, and get to have food. So that is certainly a way that we're moving forward into the next year, how to help people live safer on the streets. We're also, again, really so grateful for all of our partners. We couldn't do what we do without the amazing partners that we have. The medical providers, the law enforcement, people who give us coffee so that we can you know, serve hot drinks. I see lots of people on here who are supporters of us, who make such a difference. And I just want you to know how important it is. Every time you donate those, you know, 20 pounds of coffee, that's lots of people who get hot drinks every day. And sometimes it's just a matter of having some food in your stomach and, you know, somebody handing you a drink that makes all the difference in the world. And we know even for people who have really difficult times on our streets, that sometimes handing somebody a little sustenance really helps them calm down and feel like people care. And so for all of you on this, in this meeting, I want to thank you for what you do to allow us to continue to serve the community. I don't want to end today without saying that Arcata House Partnership is celebrating this year 30 years of service to the community. It's just mind-blowing. And so if I could share my screen for just a minute, is that allowed?
Absolutely. Share freely.
Excellent. I want to say that next Thursday, August 19th from 7 to 8:30 p.m., we will be celebrating our 30th anniversary, and it'll be virtual. So tune in to Access Humboldt Channel 12 or Facebook Live. It'll be an interactive event. It'll be really exciting. For any of you who want me to send you the virtual invitation or a paper copy, just let me know. I am so honored to be able to say that I've been part of Arcata House Partnership for 5 years now. And that the reason, again, I can't say this enough, the reason that we are so successful and our staff are so successful at serving our community is because of all of you. I want you to remember, please, that we're not here just for people who are homeless. We're here to serve the community. We're here to help in any way we can. And every time we get to offer somebody access to a restroom, that's one less time that we have to think about cleaning up our yard from environmental waste. So our work is community work. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Darleen. it is an enormous resource that Arcata House Partnership provides to our community. And before we get into questions, I was thinking as I'm looking at your website's keywords, compassion, dignity, and empowerment. One thing you said very early on in this presentation is, we all get frustrated and sometimes scared or disgusted at what we see. And, all I can challenge everybody here to think about is that's only one of the two shoes on this. If you put the other shoe on and look at the people in that position and how challenged and scared and, we are so fortunate in ourselves to be in a position where we can go buy it and clean it up and then it's out of our lives. That doesn't end for them after the incident. That is the life at the time. So keep that in mind. When we moved into our business on 4th and O Street, it was a very dense area of people that were challenged in that way. And the difference between yelling people off and asking if they need a cup of water to get on their day, or just saying hello with a smile in the morning as you enter your building makes all the difference in the world. It definitely affects how they view you as a business in the community, and that in turn affects the impact on you directly. I can guarantee that the turnaround is definitely somewhat dependent on how you treat people. So keep that in mind. Darleen, I have a question for you before others. So for people that sense in their own lives that they're getting to that point where they may in fact become homeless, what sorts of outreach could they do to Arcata House Partnership or other organizations like yours to try and head that off?
So our 633-6236 number is our client services number. The people on that who answer that call know what resources are available in the community. So call either 211 or that number. If it's specialty, if it's seniors, we would refer them to one of our senior services partners. If it's domestic violence, we would, refer people to whatever's appropriate, either a DV provider, law enforcement, to help them understand how to get restraining orders. If it's food, we let people know what food pantries are out there. So 211 is very helpful, or 633-6236 is our phone number.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Who else has questions? I see your hand up, Maggie.
Hi, yes, I was going to ask a question about, but I think Ian helped answer one element. And the question was, what could we as a community or as a club do to help have an impact on this in a positive way? And I realized, and what you said, Ian, is very true, that people who are homeless are just like any other group of people. They're all different. And for us to treat them as kind of in a disrespectful way creates a disrespectful response. And I think it is really empowering to meet them first, excuse me, where they are. And if they become disrespectful, then okay, then you deal with that and you have an interaction based on that. But to start out, I see people do that, and I just think, we need to change our thought process and how we interact with people, because we don't know their story. We don't know how they got there. And so I think that's one major thing. I'm kind of answering my own question, but I wanted to see, Darleen, if you have any kinds of more systemic recommendations or things that we as a club might be able to do to support your work.
Thank you. I think when you were talking, Maggie, and when you were talking, Ian, what came to mind was when I wake up in the morning and my children are screaming at each other, I get really pissy for the whole day, right? What a horrible way to start the day. But when I wake up in the morning and, people are kind of loving each other in my house, and you know, the day starts out calm, then my day is affected very differently. And so I think it is really important. Some of us on this call know and carry around in our cars dry socks and some snacks and things like that. And if there's any way that we can help, if there's people in the area and you want us to reach out, we certainly get calls all day and all night about, you know, well, there's this woman on the corner near the Pho restaurant who's having a particularly difficult day. It doesn't warrant calling the police because she's not doing anything criminal, but she's having a really hard time today because of whatever. We get those calls and we want to be there and we want to try and help. That doesn't mean that everybody on the street are going to allow us to help them. And, you know, we really will try, but we also want to respect people's decisions. And so sometimes people are like, Darleen, why aren't you putting that mother and her baby in a hotel? Well, first, we don't have money for hotels, but secondly, that's not what they were asking for, right? I also really want to say, and we've learned this, I think my time is up, so I'll be quick, that there are some people who have really unmanaged mental health issues and substance use issues. And so I want us to always be cautious of everyone that we interact with. But certainly, you know, we saw in Arcata one business owner who was being really insistent that somebody pick up their mess on his business land. And he got stabbed, and it was a very serious stabbing. And it was because of his approach to the person. So I just always want to make sure that people respect everyone, people who are housed and people who are unhoused, and remember that sometimes people become homeless because of mental health issues. And we wish there were more support for that. We were able to advocate for some money coming to the area for some mobile outreach staff people to work with law enforcement, to work with people who have serious mental health issues. And so we're grateful that that could happen, but please be careful, be kind, treat people with respect and dignity, show some compassion to our community, and just keep doing what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Randy, your hand's up. We do have time for one more question if you want to go ahead, Randy.
Well, thank you. I just want to say I worked with the city of Arcata for many years, and so I started working with the Arcata House and then the partnership from day one. And then after retirement, our family does provide one of the meals. I think once every 2 months we get together another family and we put together a meal for the shelter. So I just want to say there's little things that we can all do. And I just want to say the Arcata House Partnership is the real thing. They're an outstanding organization, and it just be amazing what our community would be like without them. So I just want to encourage everyone, just do little things like that. It's really no problem. Like when we do the meal for the shelter, we just go to Costco and we fill up an extra cart, and then we deliver it, and the folks there help us to carry it in. So I just want to encourage everyone, we don't have to do, if everybody gets together and just does a little thing to support the Arcata House Partnership, it goes such a long way. So I want to thank you, Darleen, for all that you do.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Darleen, for talking and entertaining so many questions. I know it's a lot at 7 in the morning. But we're now well past 7, and I appreciate that. Darleen, I wanted to let you know that our club is making a donation in your name in recognition of your presentation here today to the Wheelchair Foundation that purchases wheelchairs for folks that could not otherwise gain access to them. And so I appreciate you coming today and sharing this update, and really thankful for what you do in the community and all of your staff. Please pass that along to everybody you work with.
Thank you. I am honored. What you don't know is I have a child with cerebral palsy, and so I've been an outspoken advocate for people with physical disabilities for years. So how appropriate and wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. You're very welcome.